So, for those of you have been on the fence about launching your own consulting business, now you don't have any excuse for not doing it because now I'm going to give you basically the reason why. I'm basically going to make sure that you understand how little this cost is. And I'm realizing the lighting isn't the best in this room. You all probably noticed that my lighting and my background is always changing because I work from, sometimes from my office, sometimes from a co-working space here in the city where I live, sometimes while I am traveling in different parts of the world. And so I'm going to see what I can do to fix this lighting for you all a little bit so I'm not looking so grainy. But I think what's more important is what I'm saying. Obviously, seeing me while I communicate this is also very important. So I'm going to try to see if I can fix this while we're having this conversation. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is let you know a couple of things. So of course, the title of this video, as you can see, is ways that you can start your own independent consulting business for under $500, right? So again, for those of you who've joined, forgive the lighting, but hopefully you can see me and more importantly, hear what I'm saying so that you guys can have the information you need on how you can start your own consulting business for $500 or less. Now, like I said, let's go ahead and jump into something that is very, very clear, and that I want to make clear is that this $500 cost does not include a laptop. Right? So there is an assumption going in that you have a laptop, whether it's an old laptop, something that's new, something, whatever it is, that $500 cost does not include the laptop. If you include a laptop, then your cost becomes about $1,000, $1,100, right? If you want to, let's say a decent laptop with the capacity, the storage, and all the things that one would need. So just want to make sure you're aware of that. Now, for those of you who are joining me for the first time, my name is Patrice Davis. Again, I apologize for this lighting. I might even change midway because I don't like poor lighting. My name is Patrice Davis. I am the founder of GrantsWorks Consulting. GrantsWorks is a grant compliance consulting company based in Atlanta, Georgia. We've been in business now for 4 years. And I'm enjoying it. And as a result, I like to teach you all what I've learned or share with you what I've learned about growing and scaling a consulting business. I was able to scale GrantsWorks to GrantsWorks Academy in 2021, October 2021. And that is where I have been able to offer training and other resources to clients, sometimes to one-off customers, sometimes even to consortia. I'm able to offer that training. And so that's a part of how we were able to scale that business, offering the training on grantsworksacademy.com. All right, so we're going to jump into the reason why you're here, and that's how to start your consulting business with under $500. Now, everything that I'm saying here is something that I actually wrote on a blog on the Ready, Set, Go Consult website, and that is how to start a consulting business with under $500. As I said, it does not include a laptop. So as a new consultant, what you really need, of course, is a website, a logo, a scheduling application, a project management system, and maybe a customer relationship management system. And at this point, the CRM is optional because there's so many applications on the market now that actually function as both a CRM, customer relationship management system, and a project management system. So products like Dubsado or ClickUp, right? Those are good examples of products that do both. And some of them also, allow you to build automations, send invoices, receive payments. So there's quite a bit that you can actually do with these all-in-one applications. I don't have Dubsado or ClickUp, but I do work with contractors that use them. So my CRM system, as I've shared before, is HoneyBook. That's what we use. Now, I spent $1,000 to start my business back in January 2020. Now you can actually do it for a lot less because of what's happening is a lot of these applications, they know that if they offer you 3 months at zero cost, right? That's 3 months of time that you've gotten used to the application. Maybe you started saving documents in there. Maybe you've already started engaging and sharing things with clients in their system. So they know at some point after that trial period ends, you're probably going to want to stick around unless their interface sucks. And if their interface sucks, then obviously you should definitely bounce and find something else that works best for you, even if it means removing, documents and links and all of those things and then shutting that sucker down. So just want to make sure that we are aware of why some of these costs are so low for you all now. Now, I did also want to let you know that what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the cost from the very beginning all the way to, when I say very beginning, meaning, registering your business with your Secretary of State. And let's go ahead and start there. So to register your business with the Secretary of State and create standard articles of incorporation, that's about $50 to $150. Now, I do remember someone from New York. So I do want to make sure that you all are aware that some of these prices may vary depending on what state you're in. But I remember someone from New York explaining to me that not only did they have to register with their state, but there was some kind of borough registration as well, and that their cost was $500 in and of itself, right? Just, I think that borough registration was an additional $500 on top of that. So just know that this list is not based on cities such as, or states such as New York or states such as California. This $500 may not apply. Maybe it goes up, maybe it's twice that in those states, but just want to make sure I put that out there. Now, logo design. Everybody knows, or if you don't know, you should know about Canva, Canva. You can get a free Canva account for $0. So now we're up to about $150, right? Because $50 is the ceiling of the cost to register with your Secretary of State, depending on where you are. But then you add $0, we're still at $150. Now, to buy your domain name, you can get a domain name on namecheap.com for as little as $19, probably even less than that. So a domain name is what you need, of course, to be able, the first thing you need to do in order to get a website is to get a domain name, and you can purchase it for as low as $19. I do want to let you all know, and I always let people know this, that there are companies out there that what they do is they basically buy domain names of, domain names that they know people would actually want to purchase. So say, for example, I wanted to use imafoodie.com. There are people out there that know that there be people interested in imafoodie.com, and so they buy it, right? And then when you want that particular domain name, they don't sell it to you for what they purchased it for, $9, $19, $29. They're selling it to you for $500, $75, whatever it is, a huge markup, because, they know that that name would be something that's in demand. So I just want to make sure that you are aware that if you decide to purchase a domain name and you see something for $1,000, $75, $150, don't fuss at me. Just know that it is more than likely purchased by a company, and that company's decided that they're going to offer to you at the price that they want to charge. But typically getting a domain name should be between, let's say, $9 up to about $29. That's typically the range. But we're going to stick with that $19 range. So we're now at $169. That's $150 plus 0 plus 19. Now, to actually do your website, create your website, you then, of course, need to basically establish an account with a web developing or website builder. So you have Squarespace, you've got Wix, you've got Weebly, you've got WordPress, you've got quite a few others that I would call them new on the scene. They may be new to me. And so I actually built a Squarespace website for a very good friend, and we did that with a business account at $33 a month. So that's the first month. And I'm not suggesting that you purchase it for 12 months, because now you've blown your $500 budget. For that first month, I want you to pay that $33, and that's their business account. The business account allows you to do quite a few things. It allows you to probably sell. It probably allows you to have some kind of e-commerce function. I would double check that, but that's the difference between a basic account where they say you can have a website for free. That's because they know you can't do anything on that website except probably put some words on that website. But if you want to actually integrate some e-commerce functions or integrate just special tools, maybe be able to add special coding, maybe to have more than one call to action button. I mean, all these different things that they know that you're going to want for your website. That's when they hook you in and say, oh, if you want this, you have to get a business account, and that's going to cost you $33 a month. So we're now at, what's that? The 169 and 33, that is 202, right? So we're not even halfway yet. Now, you do want to also get a scheduling application. And so you can purchase a monthly subscription to Calendly. There's also Acuity. I use Calendly. I've been using Calendly since day one. And when I first started, I had a $10 a month subscription. And now it's a $15 a month subscription, which is not a lot. And I think $15 a month allows me to have, I think, 2 to 3 other people on my business account. And so as the team grows, we're going to definitely need to increase that a little, but it's so worth it. Calendly has been Calendly has been a really cool tool for us to use. We use it for a number of things. Obviously, we use Calendly for I'll give you some of the ways that we use Calendly in our business. So we use it to book free initial consultations. We use it to book our kickoff meetings. We use it to schedule our paid one-on-one consultations. It allows you at a certain level to integrate a payment function, right? And so just this morning, I had a meeting with someone in a Midwestern state who paid for my time for that hour to help them break down something as it relates to a complex application that federal grant application that they're submitting. So those are just 3 so far, but there are several other things. We use them when we're recruiting new staff because we can actually have certain special links created for that purpose. And so my team member goes in, she'll, do some things, she does her magic, but yeah, Calendly. I know I'm going on about Calendly. It's definitely worth it. So look into that if you haven't already. Now we are at $212. Of course, I understand this is the first month's cost. But I just want to make sure that you know that you can start your business with under $500 exclusive of your laptop. Now, the other thing that I want you all, I'm going to look out for any questions. Please drop any questions that you may have. Drop your questions. Greetings. Hi there, BV. Hi there, Takia. How are you? Thank you, guys. Again, apologies for this lighting. But I'm doing my best. Work with me. Hopefully what I'm sharing makes up for that. So yeah, Calendly is the bomb. Get Calendly. Now, another thing that you want to factor in is, of course, your Google Workspace annual account. You don't have to use Google. You can go ahead and roll right with, I think it's an Office 365. They changed the names. It used to be Microsoft 365. Now I believe it's just Office 365. And so maybe you want to go with that. But I started out the business with a Google Workspace account. Why? Here's why. When I wanted my business, I wanted to get a custom email address. I did not want so-and-so@gmail.com. I knew I was going to roll out with a custom email address. And so the company where I actually purchased my domain name and I host my website allows me to purchase email accounts, or basically they serve as a third party. I can't think of the proper term, but they basically allow me to easily get additional email accounts with the grantsworks.com, but it's all tied to my Google account. I know I'm not explaining it properly, but the bottom line is I knew I was going to start out with Google for that reason. And so we are still using Google, but by the end of the year, we are going to transition over to Microsoft, probably 100%. So your Google Workspace annual account gives you a lot more file storage space, guys. It gives you, of course, that custom email address, and that's $72, right, for the entire year. So it's so worth it. Now that's for one custom email address. I believe there's an additional cost. I know there's an additional cost for every new email address that you add, because that new email address gets their own file storage and of course their own, of course, custom email address. So it's so worth it. So even though people are used to using Microsoft tools in the workspace, others, of course, are still using Google. And the reason why some people stick with Google is because of the ease of sharing documents, right? There are ways that you can share documents, and Google's gotten better in how you can actually make sure that documents aren't shared with parties you don't want to share it with. So a lot of the work that we do may require us to we may have, like I said, 15, 16, 17 different stakeholders working on one extremely complex federal grant application to a large federal agency. We want all of those 15 people and nobody else to be able to access that file and add content, do all of those things, right? And so Google allows us to do that very easily. I know that Microsoft has done that now with their Live Drive. I think it's OneDrive Live or something like that, where you can now, and it's probably been in place for at least 2 or 3 years, you can share documents. But the couple of times I've tried it with like PowerPoint, it was kind of wonky. So, so I just want to make sure you're aware of that. I do use our Microsoft tools, our Word, our PowerPoint, and even our Outlook. And what else? And of course, Excel. I'm an Excel girl. I do everything in Excel. I manage my personal and my professional life in Excel. I do all of my work in those Microsoft tools. But when it comes to sharing, let's say a Google Doc, I will use a Google Doc really, really quickly because I know I need to share it with multiple people. So what's that total now? So that's $150 for the Secretary of State. The $19 is $169. And then the 33, I believe, is 202. Then the $10 for Calendly is 212. And then the 72, what's that now? 284. Y'all let me know if my math is wrong now. Let me know if my math is off. I have a Squarespace website which has an Acuity plugin. I will compare and contrast the two. You know what? I've heard good things about Acuity. But yeah, definitely still compare and see between Acuity and Calendly, how many different custom links can I have? Like right now, I know we have probably about 9 custom links, right? So the one-on-one consultations, the free initial consultation, 15 minutes, a 30-minute meeting, a general 60-minute meeting. We have a custom link for when we're recruiting staff, and we want to just send them a link so they can find time on my calendar to schedule the time themselves. I mean, there's just a lot of things that we use it for. There may be even certain clients that where there was a particular client that we had where we created a link specifically for them and the 100 and so organizations in that particular cohort, and so they had access to the link and could schedule some time. What's important is making sure you're managing your calendar, and you get better at it as you go. So I think it's completely worth it. I agree. Google Files are best for sharing and collaborating. Absolutely, absolutely. Good. So now we're going to move on. I think we said we're at 272. Keep me 282. Y'all keep me honest now. FreshBooks. So you are going to need a system to be able to send your invoices, so that your invoices can be paid easily. And so you can run some basic financial reports. And so you can always get QuickBooks. I used QuickBooks Starter when I first started my business. So I paid $0 in order to be able to send invoices. What they do get you with, of course, is the processing fee. So they don't mind you using their application to send invoices and get paid. Just know that when you get paid, there is about 2 to 2.5% processing fee that they're going to take right off the top. So a client is paying you $5,500. They're taking their 2%, whatever that percentage is. I remember comparing it one time because I needed to understand what am I really paying if I use different payment systems. But you can use QuickBooks or you can use my recommendation, which is FreshBooks. And I need to go ahead and write down this amount because I'm losing track of the cost here. So FreshBooks, you can get FreshBooks at $15 a month. So I believe I said I'm at $292. Now add that $15, that's $307. You see, we haven't even gotten to 500 yet, y'all, right? So I'm just giving you an example of how you can get these tools in place. And for your first month, at least, it's going to cost you under 500, assuming you have a laptop. So just want to make sure you're aware of that. Also, Squares, you can increase your cost for your website. You don't have to roll out with a business account. I'm telling you, you're going to need to probably do that anyway, because at some point you're going to need some kind of function in place, and you're going to have to stop doing what you're doing to go ahead and upgrade your account so that you can actually, maybe accept payments for certain a downloadable tool, because you may decide to start selling some kind of downloadable tool from your website, and you want your website to be able to facilitate that. Okay. So that's why it's best to just go ahead and start with that business account, whatever web design slash web design slash host. I say design slash host because Squarespace allows you to both um, um, design the website and of course host. I have WordPress, and I'm able to of course design the website with WordPress and of course host. Part of the reason I went with WordPress, guys, just in case y'all are wondering, is because WordPress is sort of the, I'll call it the template, sort of the baseline, the a lot of different applications, a lot of different developers around the world create WordPress. What's the word I'm looking for? Basically, they use WordPress. They always have WordPress as let's say the design base. It's not the right word. The development base. There's another term. I should know this because I've created websites with WordPress, but just want to make sure y'all are aware of that. So I think we're now up to, I said 307. Keep me honest. Now, another tool you're going to need is an Asana project management software. I use Asana. You don't have to use Asana. You can use whatever project management software you want. I recommend Asana because I've been using it for 3 years. And before I started using it, I actually did a comparison between Asana, Basecamp, Monday.com, and Trello. And after looking at the four of them, I decided to go forward with Asana. And I was able to use Asana at zero cost for like the first 2.5 years. I just started paying for Asana. I would say maybe even 3.5 years. I just started paying for Asana, I think maybe summer of last year. Because Asana knows the more we let you use this thing, right? Just as I said at the top of the hour, at the top of my when I first started, they know that the more that you use it, the more you're going to kind of be stuck with it, because now you're using it. I've used it for so many client engagements and to manage so many clients' projects. There's so many documents in there, and links to all these wonderful things that we share with our clients, that it doesn't make sense right now for us to change. We probably will at some point, right? But right now we don't need to. But the reason I mentioned that is also because it's, again, $0. We're still at 307. Okay. Now, the other thing you want to factor in, of course, is some kind of video conference meeting type of thing, right? And so we know what's dominating the market right now is Zoom. And you can have a $0 Zoom account, but it's only going to give you about 20 minutes or 15 to 20 minutes of meeting time. And it's embarrassing to be in the middle of a meeting with a client and you get a sign coming up saying, I wouldn't say it's embarrassing, but you want to avoid that, right? We're in the middle of a meeting with a client and it says you have 2 minutes left, you have 5 minutes left. Just go ahead and pay the $12 a month. And that's what this cost is. Zoom, you can start with I don't know what that level is or what that tier is, but it's as low as $12 a month. So I think we're at 307 plus the $12, that's $319. Now we're going to go down to the other thing that I have on my list. Y'all may not need this on your list. I know I have it on my list because of the work that I do. And that is a printer. And now we have pretty, I would say, robust printer because we are printing, multi-page documents. Sometimes we are printing 80, 90-page documents that we need to read. Well, at least I like to read and, really get a deep dive into it. And so I have a printer on my consultant startup list. You may not need that. And so I was able to find an inkjet printer with an initial set of toner for $109. And so far that total is less than $500. It is $420. Right. So I just want to make sure, again, that math, I want to make sure the math is right. I'm looking down because there's another tool I want to show you all that's also $0. So I'm going to show you all a tool and y'all confirm that you can see it, right? Back in the day, those of us at a certain age used to have our little business cards. We were so proud when we started a new position. We got our new business cards, but we now realize those aren't necessarily needed as much. I do still have a set of business cards because I go to conferences and sometimes, of course, I just want to give them out, but you don't need that. You can get something called Hi Hello. Can you all see this? I'm gonna go this way. If you look at Hi Hello, right, I'm gonna scroll and show y'all. Let me see if it'll let me do it. But you can see, hi, hello, it's got all my links, right? It's got my email address, the website, all the things, all of these are active links. And as a result, you don't need a business card. This is the free version of this particular application, y'all. So I just want y'all to know that no need to spend money on business cards. We are still at $420. Now, here's what I'm going to do for y'all. Instead of telling you what you can actually get, I'm also going to tell you what hidden costs to look out for. Now, the first thing you're going to look out for are those merchant transaction fees, right? So, like I said, any company that is going to process the payment for you, they're going to take their money off the top, right? So whether it's PayPal or Stripe or QuickBooks or FreshBooks or some of the other systems that function as both an accounting system and a payment payment transaction, let's call it facilitator, or those that are just, maybe just they just process payments. Stripe and PayPal are a good example of basically payment platforms only. They only process payments. Stripe and PayPal. They may do some other things. They offer loans. They do these other things, but they're not like QuickBooks or FreshBooks that also they are payment platform, but they also are an accounting system. You can actually, you can do quite a bit with those. So watch out for those merchant transaction fees. Take a look at those percentages. As I said before, and figure out some other ways around that. My financial consultant is basically trying to make sure that I set it up so that I'm getting paid now via ACH, so that I'm avoiding some of these fees. Because sometimes, as your business grows and a client is sending you a five-figure payment from your invoice, and that the payment that QuickBooks is taking a certain percentage off of that, it just doesn't feel good. Actually, what they do is they deposit the entire amount. My apologies, they don't take it off the top. They deposit the entire amount, but then they charge you the cost. So let's say you send an invoice to a client for $10,000. You get your $10,000, but then you're also going to get like a 20-something dollar fee from a QuickBooks or FreshBooks that charges that. But I would definitely check the payment platforms. Maybe that's the difference. The payment platforms take it out of the payment, but maybe the QuickBooks and the FreshBooks, they give you the full deposit, but then charge you a fee. So y'all check me on that one. But then there is another hidden cost that a lot of times people aren't considering, and that is business liability insurance. And I'm going to go ahead and look right at y'all in this camera. Business liability insurance is so important. When you are consulting, there may be instances where, and this shouldn't happen because you know your stuff, right? Where there could be some kind of liability because maybe you provided advice to a client that wasn't correct, that cost them money, that was just costly in some way. And, your client can sue you. So you want to make sure you have business liability insurance. Now, there's general liability so that if you go on the client's property and you fall, or you and your coworker go on the client's property and the coworker falls, that's general liability. There's also professional liability, and that's what covers what I was just talking about, where you provided advice or guidance to the client, and that guidance was wrong and therefore costly. And so you want to look into that, right? I actually the other day just signed a new client. It was a city government, and they required workers' comp. So I was like, okay, now I've got the, professional liability, and now I've got to pay for workers' comp. But it is, again, and I'm not surprised when you're working with sometimes city governments, state governments, they want those things in place. So just want to make sure you all are aware of that. And two more hidden costs I'm going to make sure y'all aware about. And so one of the things you'll probably notice, like when you go sign up for like your web hosting or all these different applications that I shared earlier, many of them are going to give you like a menu of 3 things. And then those menu are going to show you all the things that are included in the basic, in the premium, or in the king, or, like the platinum, right? And then they give you this price and you're like, oh, this looks great. But then what you don't realize is the price that they have is the price that is the monthly average if you pay for the full year. So just be on the lookout for that, because before you know it, you think you're only paying $10 a month, when in fact you're paying $120 in one fell swoop, because they're charging you $10 a month average over the 12-year period. right? And so you see $10 real in big font, and in tiny little font, they say something along the lines of the monthly rate. Like if you want to be billed on a monthly basis, is $15 a month. If you only want to pay $15 a month, make sure you look out for that monthly rate and not the average annual rate. And they get you with that. So just make sure you're looking out for that. The fourth thing is the cost. It's something you definitely need to do, and that's get a virtual office to avoid using your home address, and that can cost you about $50 a month. So I just want to make sure you're aware of some of these hidden costs. You don't have to use the virtual office, and they're probably lower cost options nowadays. But I just want to make sure you all are thinking about that. All right. So they say that it takes money to make money, and I'm sure you all are aware of that. So just know that when you start your business, expect that there will be some costs, manage them, watch this video, revisit some of the things that I recommended, find your own alternative. Maybe you find something that either costs less, works better for you, you like the interface better. I'm all for it. Do whatever works for you. Just know that cost shouldn't be what prevents you from actually launching your independent consulting business. That's the point I'm making here. Cost should not be the factor that determines that. You can launch it at a very low cost, and keep costs low. It's a service-based business, and it's a business that doesn't require you to go anywhere. Now you're doing this from the comfort of your home or the comfort of wherever you are. You don't actually have to rent a space. You're not selling products, and therefore you have to have rent again someplace. Sometimes, especially when you're selling certain products, you want to rent something with a lot of foot traffic. You avoid those costs because you have a consulting business, a service-based business, that you can run from anywhere in the world, which is, again, what part of the reason why I started my business. So someone says, I'm testing Atlassian, Jira, and Confluence to manage non-technical projects. My hat's off to you. That's pretty cool. I've heard of Atlassian, I've heard of Jira, and I've heard of Confluence. I have no idea what the differences are and what they do. You want to let us know, are they all project management tools? And you're testing the three to see which one works best. Yeah, I've heard good things about Jira, but then I've also heard not so good things about Jira. And yes, any other thoughts or questions, y'all? Any other thoughts or questions? Anything I can answer? Be more than happy to answer for you. And I'm hoping, can y'all drop a note? Let me know that this has been helpful. Let me know, hey, yeah, I never thought about that. But all those tools that I listed are the tools that you need to jumpstart your business. Again, the one thing I probably didn't mention was web hosting. But again, you can get web hosting and a web design, let's say, service all in one if you choose like a WordPress or a Squarespace or something like that. Atlassian owns Jira and Confluence. Okay, I am just jumping on. Would there be a playback? Yes, sweetheart, Crystal. As soon as I end this video, it will be available for you to watch the whole thing. Okay. I do want to let you all know that I do have something called the Ultimate Consultants and Freelancer Starter Kit. And everything that I listed in here, except for the printer, is in that starter kit. The cool thing about the starter kit is it doesn't just include tools, it includes email templates. So you're not trying to figure out, okay, what should I have in my welcome email? What should I have in my follow-up email? What should I, so we have, I think, about 5 email templates in there. We have a consulting agreement template. We've got a vendor agreement template, because there are going to be instances when you need to hire a subcontractor. Am I right? All right. So you want to make sure you have a vendor agreement. I have an NDA template in there. But yeah, it's called the Ultimate Consultants and Freelancer Starter Kit. You can get it from readysetgoconsult.com/starter-kit. But there's also a link directly below this video, so you can grab it there. Anything else? Chosen. Thank you so much, Chosen. I appreciate it. Sometimes I don't know how this is perceived. And so I'm glad that you gave me that thumbs up. I really appreciate that. Any thoughts about anything that I mentioned in terms of ads? Great session. Yes. Thank you, Takia. Appreciate this. T.S. Ellis. Anything that you thought, maybe you're like, okay, but what about this? What about that? I'm going to give it about another minute or so to answer any questions that are specific to your particular situation. Onboarding and offboarding in that kit. Oh yeah, you did say that. Onboarding. So it looked like Chosen got the kit. Yep, Chosen's got that kit. Thank you, Chosen. So yes, it does have onboarding email, and I believe you're right, even an offboarding email. Oh yeah, it also has a proposal template. And I updated that proposal template. So the one that's out there now reflects the updated proposal template and includes the offboarding email. So yeah, thank you for reminding me, Chosen. I appreciate it. So, Crystal, are certifications and our degrees required to start my consulting business? Great question. No. Now, having certification, oh, well, degrees. Now, let's say use Crystal. Great question. Let's say, Crystal, you have your bachelor's degree. You have about 25 years of experience in your space. And you can run circles around people. Let's say you are a, software developer. I'm just going to use that. And 25 years of software development, you may only have your bachelor's. It's like only, I mean, bachelor's is just fine. But let's say you have your bachelor's. I only say only because people think you got to have 50 million initials behind your name to be a consultant. You do not. What you need is really deep experience. That's all you need, Crystal. Let's say you have your bachelor's degree and you have 25 years of experience as a software developer, 20 years, even 15 years. 25 is pushing it. 15 years, maybe even 10 years. And in those 10 years, Crystal, you've worked in 3 different environments. One was a university, one was let's say, a startup company, and another one was, let's say, a nonprofit. And you were a software developer for a large nonprofit, for a university, and for a startup company. That's 3 different types of organizations. Think about the variation in the way those 3 organizations are structured in terms of their processes, in terms of the tools that they have at the ready, in terms of the different departments that you have to collaborate with to get stuff done. That's 3 different environments that help inform you about what your prospective clients may need. You understand what I'm saying? And so what you're doing is you're kind of leaning on your expertise to be a consultant. And that's what I would like you to do. I would like for you to say, I'm a software developer, and I'm a software developer that works in academia, with a startup, and with large nonprofits. I want you to make it clear in your copy, wherever you communicate, that I'm not just a regular software developer that worked for one company for 20 years, which is fine because you can move within different departments. I want you to say, I'm a software developer that have experience in 3 different environments. And as a result, that makes me more aware of what my clients' needs are. You understand what I'm saying? So to start a life coaching, okay, well, that's a great question. So see, coaching certifications, I do think that, and I'm glad you brought that up. I do think that when you become a coach, becoming certified is extremely important, because that differentiates you from the very many people who say that they're coaches. And I actually was one of those people. And I was like, Patrice, you need to stop saying you're a coach. I actually, when I first launched Ready, Set, Go Consult, I positioned it as coaching. Then I realized I'm not coaching. What I'm doing is accelerating. I'm actually serving as an accelerator. I think coaches are special designation, and that certifications are important to show that you take your work seriously, that you've actually gotten some training, and that you're not just calling yourself a coach. About 2 years ago, everybody was a coach. It was a coach. And again, that's once I realized I shouldn't be. So I'm just basically admitting to you guys that I realized the error of my ways and decided to stop it. But Crystal, great point. So a certification, a program to start a life coaching consulting business. What I would ask you to do is let me know the difference between, it sounds like you're going to be helping people. You're going to consult with other people who want to become life coaches. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah. Okay, good. So you did the right thing. Get your certification. If you're going to be working in the coaching space, anything where certifications help you stand out, I definitely think is a good idea. Should it hold you back? Should you launch? You should go ahead and launch and make that certification, launch, and then that certification can probably amplify or enhance your capabilities, or enhance your skills, or enhance your positioning as a consultant. But I don't think you need it to start. And maybe that's what I should say. You don't need it to start. It can enhance your marketability, enhance your positioning, enhance your expertise. Even you can say, I have these 4 certifications from these top international certification organizations, and that makes you stand out. So hopefully I answered that. Okay, cool, cool, cool. I tend to go over. I be over explaining, Crystal. All right. Well, I thank you guys so much. Let me know. You can actually drop comments after the video ends. I do go back like once a week to see if any comments are there. So feel free to drop comments. I'll respond as soon as I can. Thank you, Crystal. And hopefully this was helpful. I thank you guys for your time. I really appreciate it. Sorry for this lighting. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna make sure I have my lighting type the next time around. All right. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful night. I'm still working on building my clientele for my business management accounting consulting firm. I'm an accountant, business manager, owner. What can you offer for this matter at hand? Here's what I'm going to tell you, Chosen, what I would do, because I hear business management accountant. Here's what I would like for you to do. I need you to tell me, what is your specialty? Like, are you a business manager and accountant that specializes in daycare centers? Are you a business manager accountant that specializes in community college? Maybe you've worked in community colleges all your life, and maybe you can advise, you can help or maybe in healthcare centers, maybe for doctors. That's what I'd like you to do. I'd like for you to make sure that you stand out, because if I'm looking at 10 business managers, if I'm looking for a business manager consultant or an accountant consultant, right, or accounting consultant, and I see a list and they all describe themselves as an accounting consultant, but I'm looking for a company that specializes in small businesses and they say they're a small business consultant, I'm going to go to that one because they're speaking to me. Okay? So that's what I'd recommend, Chosen. Hopefully that helps. So broad can get lost in the sauce. Put some definition around that if you think that will be helpful. I think it would be helpful, not if you think it will be helpful. If you're able to define exactly what your specialty is. Or maybe you don't have a specialty, but there's a certain market you want to target. Maybe your experience is broad, but maybe you only want to work with doctors' offices, or you only want to work with dentists. And so that's what you would say. I am an accounting consultant for healthcare professionals. Okay, good. Corporate and business and churches. So decide, with your communication, it sounds like you probably want to have all 3 as clients. Of course, I don't blame you. And so just make sure that you put that in all your language, that you've done accounting for corporate. I can't see this other one, small businesses and churches. You specialize in accounting for, I don't know if for corporate, small businesses and churches. Over 40 years, there it is, excellent experience. And so you just want to make sure that you say that. As long as you put those qualitative terms there, it helps you stand out. Okay? All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Y'all have a wonderful night. And as y'all can see, it's night here. And I appreciate y'all coming with me. Next week, we're going to talk about the books that changed my life, the books that really took the business to the next level. And one of them is going to really surprise you. So it's not one of the general, hey, the regular book, the Atomic Habits, all those things. It's a book that's going to surprise you. And why it helped me is going to also be a surprise. And so, definitely come back next week. I'm looking forward to doing that one and revealing the book that really, one of the books that really helped me. It's not a book I've ever mentioned anywhere before, but it really, really helped me change the way I perceive myself, especially in a certain aspect of my business. All right. Bye, y'all. Have a wonderful evening. Take care.